You've been waiting ever since about 2013. The market's been steady. You've got lots of work. You've probably made quite a bit of money. Even when COVID hit, it went down for a bit, but then it stepped back up again. But you've been waiting. You've been waiting for the other shoe to drop. You've been waiting for the market to shift considerably, to shift dramatically. And perhaps now it's starting to shift. Not only is the market shifting, but your internal game is shifting. You're beginning to feel anxious. You're beginning perhaps to be worried. And now is the time for you to step up as the leader of your construction company. Today's podcast is all about how to control yourself and cause your company to thrive in the midst of economic uncertainty. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Today, we're going to focus on 5 things that you can do to make sure that your business thrives. First one is go back to your foundations. The second one, treasure your cash. The third, focus on your projects. Number 4, double down on business development. And 5, manage yourself. That's what we're going to cover here today. And as you're coming into uncertain times, as perhaps you're feeling that anxiety build, as you're seeing the anxiety around you from other people, those closest to you, your employees, and your business partners, your suppliers, all of that anxiety that people are feeling, this is now time for you to focus on what you can control. So by way of introduction, let's think about that for a moment. There are many things that you have no control over when it comes to your business. For instance, your competitors, the macro market conditions, your customer budgets, the weather, regulations, customer demands, and material and sub prices. These are things that affect you. These are things that can impact you. These are things that can drive down revenue and drive up costs and shrink your profit margins, but you have no control over those things. What you must focus on are the things that you do have control over. And primarily, the first thing you have control over is yourself, and the second thing you have control over is your business. And that's what sets you apart from everyone else, is that you own an asset that you have control over. It's not necessarily a stock that goes up and down. It's a business that you have control over, and the decisions that you make today can have an impact tomorrow. And because of the level of expertise that you have and the understanding that you've built up over the years about how to run a successful construction business, it's vital that you block out the things that you can't control and focus relentlessly on the things that you can control. So let's dive into those things. First thing we're going to look at is going back to your foundations. You've made a commitment to the construction industry. Whether it started when you were a small child and perhaps your dad was involved in the industry and you went with him to job sites, or you worked with him in his construction company, whether it was just as a small child messing around in the backyard and it kind of bit you, that construction bug. If you own a construction company, you have made a commitment to the construction industry. And the good news is construction isn't going anywhere. People are builders, and there will always be a need for infrastructure, for buildings of a variety of different kinds. The economy will go up and down, but ultimately the construction sector of the economy is tremendously resilient, and you have made a commitment to that sector. Secondly, you have a commitment to your clients, and you have a commitment to your partners in the industry. You're the type of person who plays long-term games with long-term people. And we realize that life and business and the economy has ups and downs. But what sustains us in the midst of those ups and downs is the commitments that we've made to those long-term relationships. And it's those relationships that you can lean on, and you yourself can be a rock in the midst of a stormy sea for other people that you have those relationships established with. And then you've made a commitment to your employees. You have a responsibility that is tremendous, that the vast majority of the population doesn't feel. That commitment to providing good work for good people and a paycheck that not only impacts that individual, but their family and ultimately the entire community. And that is a deep, profound commitment. And so I want you to focus on that in the midst of instability. When you're feeling anxious, you must remember you've committed to the industry, you've committed to your partners and your clients, and you've committed to your employees. Keep those commitments. Second thing you want to do, manage your cash, okay? You really want to treasure that cash. So, how's your overhead at the moment? You must be ruthless in cutting overhead. Here are some sources of overhead that you should consider. Perhaps you have excess when it comes to administrative staff. You have too many non-billable roles that are crushing your margins. And I know I just said you've made a commitment to your employees. I want you to particularly focus on those employees that are reciprocating that commitment by generating revenue for you. And think about those employees that are perhaps not reciprocating that commitment or are an excessive and unnecessary burden on your overhead. It's okay for you as an employer to look at those things and make a decision that is best for the health and the future of the entire business, because you know that the health of your business impacts many people, and keeping your business healthy may require you to cut some people in your business. You've got to look at that objectively. Another source of leaking cash that you need to address in your business as it relates to overhead is poor vendor management. You have IT vendors, you have office supplies, you have redundant software licenses. Look at all of those areas. Ask yourself, where is the subscription creep happening? Think about your personal life, right? I mean, if you've got Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and all those other pluses, you know that's costing you a few $100 every month. What are the Paramount Pluses and the ESPN Pluses that you're not watching anymore, so to speak, in your business, that you're not using anymore, that's not giving you any benefit? Ruthlessly look at those things and eliminate them. And then finally, think about your office space. Perhaps you've expanded in such a way that you have wasted square footage, and you're wasting, if you're renting, you're wasting rent or utilities or upkeep. And perhaps a reduction in your office space or a subleasing of unused office space could help you address overhead issues. Hey, I hope you're enjoying today's show. Quick break to talk about The Shift, my online 5-module leadership class. Construction comes with challenges that only insiders truly understand, and generic leadership training just doesn't cut it. You need a program built specifically for construction professionals, led by an industry expert. And my class, The Shift, delivers that. 5 modules. It's all about controlling your calendar and not your time. That's Module 1. Module 2 is the 3 messages great leaders communicate to their teams every day. Module 3 is building and leading a high-performing team. Module 4 is how to lead your team to agreement on problem resolution in less than an hour. And Module 5 is the big picture, the construction leader's dashboard, where you put into writing the most essential elements of what it means for you to be successful as a leader. So go to theshift.constructiongenius.com, check out the page, check out all the testimonials, and then sign yourself and your people up for The Shift. If you don't like the course after completing it, if you don't think it's beneficial to you, I will refund 100% of your money, no questions asked. So go check out the show. Go check out the course. I know you're going to enjoy it. And now back to the show. And then as you're treasuring your cash, you've got to chase your accounts receivable. Make sure that those progress billings are being billed and being chased. Your retention that you've already earned is being captured. Those change orders are being paid. What does this require? It may require you to do something that you haven't done in a while, and that is pick up the phone and call the people who owe you money, make yourself the squeaky wheel, and get the money that you've earned. And then, one way to treasure your cash and treasure your reputation is to pay your vendors and subs. The temptation when times are tough is to not do that. But if you've made commitments to people, keep those commitments. How you treat people in tough times will have a tremendous impact on how they view you through the tough times and back into the good times. So pay the people that you owe. So you want to go back to your foundations. You want to treasure your cash. And then you want to focus on your projects. Remind yourself the basics. You're in business to build profitable projects. So you want to focus on driving up revenue and driving down costs. You drive up revenue through value engineering, through that customer service, through your market knowledge, through your bid strategy, through your change order management. You drive down costs by focusing on quality and safety and productivity and managing your subs well. So get together with your superintendents and your foremen and your project managers and emphasize the importance of each one of them understanding what they have control over and impress upon them the vital importance of executing the processes that you already have in place that drive up revenue and drive down costs. Because perhaps revenue will be a little compromised in the downturn, but your costs can be managed very vigorously. And we all know that it's not so much the money that you bring in, but it's managing the gap between the money that you bring in and the money that you spend. Because the wider that gap, the greater your profit margins. The greater your profit margins, the more cash you get into your business. The more cash you have in your business, the more stable your business is, and the more effective you are in weathering those storms. So the next thing you want to do is you want to double down on business development. One thing to always keep in mind, you cannot control productivity. That is the number of projects that you win, but you can control activity. So get active in business development. What I'd like you to do right now is make a list of the top 10 clients that you haven't spoken to in a while and make a point of having a lunch with them or dropping by the office. Rekindle the magic of the cold call. Get your face in the place, get belly to belly with the people who may have projects that you can build, and let them know that you're here for the long term, and you're ready to do work. And think about that key strategic focus that you have of right project, right client, right location. Now, ideally, you hit all three of those whenever you build a project because that maximizes your opportunity for profit. But in the downturn, you have to look at adjacent markets. So perhaps it's not right client, right location, right project every time. Perhaps it's right client, right location, but they have a slightly different project that you might be able to stretch for perhaps. But they trust you and they like you and they know you. And they may be willing to work with you on a particular project that you haven't built before, or that you have connections with other subcontractors that you may be able to partner with. My point is you need to get creative with your strategic approach to business development and not get stuck in a box, because now is the time to lift up your head and to look around for the market opportunities that perhaps are being created because your weaker competitors are really struggling in a downturn and they're not able to execute projects. Hey, quick break to talk about my book. There it is, Construction Genius. This is a great book. Just had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn and they told me they gave the book a 5-star review. If you go to Amazon and check out all of the reviews, we have over 50 5-star reviews. I'm tremendously grateful for that feedback. And I want you to get the book because, as the subtitle says, you're going to learn effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS leadership strategy, sales, and marketing techniques that will help you to build a better construction company and to be a more effective leader. It's on Amazon, $20 for the paperback. It's a killer deal. All you have to do is read one chapter a week, take one application from each chapter, and I promise you, it will transform your business. In fact, I'm so confident that if you buy the book, you read it, and you think, Eric, that wasn't worth my time and money, reach out to me via email, eric@constructiongenius.com, and I will Venmo you the $20 that you spent on the book. I will give you all of your money back. So go out to Amazon, buy the book, link in the show notes, and now back to the program. You must keep your key guys busy as much as possible, because it's your key guys in the field who are building projects profitably that you want to keep employed, so when that downturn finishes and the upturn occurs, and I promise you the downturn will finish and the upturn will occur, we just don't know how long it will take. You must be ready for that. And obviously having your key guys in place who put the work in place, who make you the money, it's vital to have those folks. By the way, little sidebar right now. Think about all the B players, or maybe the C players that you've been tolerating all these years because you just need a warm body on a project. Now is the time to be able to confidently say, I'm sorry, we no longer have a position for you here in this organization. And to really focus in on solidifying the commitment of your A players, because it's those folks who will help you to roar out of any downturn that we may be facing. Okay, so we've talked about going back to your foundations, treasuring your cash, focusing on your projects, doubling down on business development. Lastly, I want to remind you to manage yourself. When the stock market is tanking, when there's economic uncertainty, your people are looking to you for leadership. And it's vital that you provide that sunny, cheerful, optimistic leadership. It doesn't mean you don't face the brutal truths. It doesn't mean you don't tell people the realities of what's going on if you need to, but you do so with optimism because remember, you've made a long-term commitment to the construction industry. And you are a professional. You are deeply skilled. You are deeply talented. You haven't gotten this far by luck, and now you're going to double down on what works. You know how to build projects profitably. You know the processes that work, and you must be able to communicate that optimism and that cheerfulness to your people. Because even if times are tremendously hard, if they look to you as a leader and they see that you're optimistic and you're cheerful and you're moving forward, it'll really help them with their attitude. So it's vital that you manage yourself. So let me give you some tips for that. First thing, have someone to talk to. As men particularly, we tend to internalize our issues and kick them over in our heads. But you know what you need to do sometimes? You need to sit down with someone and just have a conversation with them about the struggles that you have. To be open, to be honest, someone that you can trust, someone who will listen, someone who won't pity with you, someone who might tell you the truth if you're sounding a little self-pitying or a little down, but you need someone to talk to. So make sure you have a trusted advisor, a friend, someone that you can have a conversation with, someone that you can be brutally honest with. Second thing, make sure you're moving your body. This is absolutely vital. We get so stuck in ourselves. We get stuck on our computer screens. We get stuck in the issues. Take 10, 15 minutes a day. Go for a walk. Get to the gym. Lift some weights. Go for a run. Do whatever you need to do to manage your internal game by managing your physical body. I know that can be tremendously difficult when things are hard. But I promise you, if you take 30 to 45 minutes a day doing some kind of physical movement, it's going to really help you. Next thing, I want you to watch your drinking. Alcohol and drugs are not going to solve your problem. They're not going to help you to overcome the stresses and the burdens that you're facing as a leader. So don't look to those artificial means to solve your problems. It's not going to help. Next thing, don't obsess over the stuff that you have no control over. So you need to watch the media that you're consuming. Doesn't mean you can't check the stock market. Doesn't mean you can't read the newspaper. But if you're obsessing over that stuff and if it's affecting your emotions in a way that is negative, you should really limit your consumption of the media. You should not spend your time obsessing and worrying about things that you have no control over. You have too many things that you do have control over that are your direct responsibility that you need to focus on. And then lastly, hug one of your loved ones. I have kids in my house, right? And I have a wife. And I hugged them today. I went round and I gave them a hug. And maybe it was more for me than it was for them, right? But that physical contact, that human relationship, those healthy human relationships can help you through all of these difficult times. And in order to keep those relationships healthy, it's vital that you manage yourself, because the more effective you are at managing yourself, the more healthy those relationships are that you are deeply committed to. Okay, times are tough, right? Things go up and down. This is life. It's in the times of suffering and difficulty that you are exposed sometimes, but you're refined as well. You're developed. And I promise you, in these times of difficulty and challenge, people are looking to you for leadership. So go back to your foundations. Treasure your cash. Focus on your projects. Double down on business development. Manage yourself. And always, always focus on what you can control. Thank you for listening today. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity. And to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.